Today's golf swing lesson is going to be around how you swing your irons, and there's a question involved. I want you to let me know, do you swing the club with your trail hand or your lead hand, or a combination of both? Which one is controlling whatever? Let me know in those comments down below, and let me know what I use with students to try and trigger some really good golf swing moves when they're taking lessons with me to help them hit straight up iron shots. So to hit good golf shots, to have shots that go out and hit target, you need to have good club face control. So this means how the face moves around your body needs to be relatively controlled. You can see as I move this face, so let's call this closed and this open for the purpose of this video, I'm very much doing that in my hands. So my trail hand and lead hand, I feel like they're twisting, like I'm almost putting energy through the shaft this way on this axis, and I'm doing that by twisting that in my feeling in my wrist. So if I wanted to hit like a heavy draw shot out to the right coming back, I'm going to turn the face more down to the ground, try and hit it with a closed face to path. If I wanted to hit like a big high cut, I'm now going to turn the club where I feel like I'm turning it more face up to the sky, and what this is going to do is allow me to have a face open to a path. So I'm really using what I feel my wrists to control that club face, which then in turn controls my club path. Because if I'm going to hit a draw, I'm going to swing more this way. If I'm going to hit a fade, I'm going to hit more this way. So that face will influence that. And I'm really influencing that by how I feel I'm turning my hands as I move around the golf swing. So we've established face control is important. We've established that feeling it through your hands is quite a common thing. Lots of good players do that, and amateurs do. When I work with them, it's a key feeling that if they haven't got this feeling, we want to work towards it. The big question is, are you doing it with your trail hand or are you doing it with your lead hand? And the reason why this is an important question is to get golfers to make fundamental movement changes, they have to have some real latched on feelings, and if they're fluffy which hand they feel controls it, it's really hard to fix it. So for me, predominantly I've been a lead hand feeling golfer. So I start and I can feel that there's a cup. There's an angle in my lead hand here between the lead hand and my lead arm. There's an angle built in here. So I know this angle as I make my backswing, it starts to come out. So I tend to flatten it, which then gives the face this kind of angle, which encourages a little bit more handle lean, better strikes, better use of the club face, easier to get the strike not out the bottom of the club. So I'm going to make a backswing where I feel like I flatten lead wrist, very much a flattening lead wrist kind of player. But as you teach more and more and more, you teach people and you say flatten lead wrist, and they just go, I can't feel that. So then you say, well, why don't you bend? So bend it back more, your trail wrist. Because if my lead wrist is flattening, my trail wrist is bending more. Basically, that's going back more. So for some golfers, they're getting good control by feeling it through their trail. So getting that bend in there as they go back. And then for some golfers, they're feeling like they're doing it in the lead. So for you, identifying which one is the most successful of hitting good shots might be the trick for you gaining a bit more consistency. It's not always doing what I feel is best. So I feel it through the lead wrist. That might not be you. We all feel things very differently. So let's establish those feels to kick us off. Easy way of doing this is just hold on with one hand. So I'm going to start with my lead hand, my gloved hand. Try and turn your body up to the top of the backswing. How easy is it for you to feel that this wrist is turning the face, whichever way you want to turn it? So up to the sky. Loads down to the ground, somewhere in between. You know, really work with the range of movements. When you get up to the top, does it make sense to turn this up to the sky? Turn the back of this pad more out in front of me? Which trigger in that wrist is feeling like it could turn the face in a way that when you hit the shot, you're going to latch on to whatever that feeling was you just had and hopefully put it on the green, you know, give you that club face control you need and want. Now, once you've done your lead hand, obviously, simplest way of doing it, let's do trail hand. So this is the same idea. I'm holding on with trail hand. I can feel at the start there's a slight bend in here, and I'm going to feel as I go back, does that bend straighten up, or do I extend it more? Do I get more bend in there? Well, if I get more bend in there, it definitely feels like the club goes more down to the ground. So if I bend it more, and then if I go top of my backswing and feel like it's almost pointing down behind me, then we start getting the club face kind of much more in those positions. See how the face up to the sky? And then if I straighten that wrist up, you can see how it starts pointing it more into this, what we'd call like open position, which causes the over the top cuts kind of swings. So again, you're going to hit a shot. So now I'm feeling trail wrist. Now I can feel trail wrist, but it feels not what I've grown up doing, so it feels counterintuitive. The other thing that I feel if I do trail wrist, and this is where this is always really interesting, is if I feel I do this more with my trail wrist rather than flattening lead wrist, remember, talking about controlling that club face, If I extend trail wrists more, so this way on that backswing, I do feel like I get more stretch on my backswing. It makes me feel like I'm going to get out here more. Now, as someone who has often swung and got their arms quite tight across their body on the backswing, in an effort to control my trail elbow as I make my backswing, which is something I've been working on, I've actually latched on more to my trail wrist. So I share these ideas with you because it's something I've not done enough personally in my own game. If I experimented with this more when I was younger, trying to get this trail wrist to bend more, it probably would have extended this backswing more for me, which helps me with my power, trying to hit the ball further. Where because I was so dialed into lead wrist, which was great, arrow straight, feel like I could really control the club, but because distance wasn't talked about so much in those days, I didn't really think about extending this one to get the shape. And this is again what's really important for you. You might find that using your lead wrist triggers some better moves through your lead arm. Using your trail wrist triggers some better moves through your trail arm, which might trigger some better spacing on the backswing. Again, I don't know what the combination is. And if you came for a lesson with me, I wouldn't know what your combination is until you try it, which is why I want you to try this now. So if we establish that club face control is key to trying to hit target, it's one of the fundamentals. If we can then work out which wrist is turning that face correctly and better for you, and in turn maybe triggering some better moves, you're going to find a different level of consistency that you might not have had before, which would be great. Now look, if you want to go deeper down this rabbit hole about how to control the club face, I've got a weekly newsletter, which is absolutely free. Links down below in the show notes down below. Hit that link, you'll go to a video that goes deeper into these ideas and explains it more using some amazing tech, which will help you. And if you want to join that community, come along. It's great. We're learning loads together. It's all perfectly free. Just sign up and it's free and we'll learn together. Now, if you want to stay on YouTube and watch another video which talks about this a bit more, this one's helping a lot of golfers.